mean, and you will not reach purposes of identification, kindly raise up your hand so that you can circulate.
Yes. Charles Midori Juma, Chief Migosi Area.
Good morning. I'm Engineer Moses Jura, Chief Engineer Technical Services, Kiwasco. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Mr. Diambo Emos from the HR department, Kiwasco. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Herman Moses. I'm from the County Assembly of Kisumu, clerk to the Committee on Water, Environment and Natural Resources. I'm here on behalf of Honorable Samson Ameso. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm John, representing United Millers, the management of United Millers. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Onyango Kennedy, water kiosk operator at Makogila.
Good morning. I'm Samuel Iregi, representing ABL or Equator Bottlers.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Billy Omondi, representing Dr. Gott from Shauri Moyo National Housing Civil Servant Scheme, Kibuye.
Good morning, everyone. I'm representing Lake Victoria Tourism Association, Kisumu.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dorcas Enda on the Kiwasco board. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Albert Ochodo, representing Wasreb.
Good morning. I'm Simon Ondigo, Kiwasco, Head of Audit Risk and Compliance.
Good morning. My name is Mary Mariga from Kakamega Water and Sanitation Company. I've come to see what our big brother is doing.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Ogwang from Kiwasco, Head of Supply Chain.
Good morning. Eldo Dongo, Kiwasco, Head of Corporate.
Good morning. My name is Josiah Osiri. I'm a wash consultant and a senior lecturer at Moody University in Songabilan. But a water user here in Kisumu.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Otuoma Erick, water kiosk operator from Kaloleni area. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Paula Owino Ramoli, Chairman of Ondiek Estate.
Good morning. My name is Edward Gaya, Systems Admin, Kiwasco.
Good morning. My name is Shemo Tieno, ICT Manager, Kiwasco.
Good morning. Harriet Ashuro, Kiwasco, also rapporteur.
Good morning. Jason Ochola is my name, Head of Commercial Services, Kiwasco.
Good morning. I'm Vincent Mondi, representing the Delegated Management Model.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Alfred Adongo, Team Leader Sana International, also one of the founder board of directors of Kiwasco.
Good morning. My name is Israel Agina. I'm Chairman of Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and immediate former chair of Kiwasco.
Morning, everybody. My name is Professor Norbert Opio Akech. I'm a director at Kiwasco.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Albert Ojonyo, Director-elect, Kiwasco Board of Directors.
Good morning. You didn't have tea today. Bwana Secretary. Good morning. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. My name is Phyllis Chepkemboi. I'm a current board member at Kiwasco. Karibuni.
I'm Nicholas Mosetti from Kisumu Water.
Morning, everybody. Solomon Awino from Equity Secretaries and Registers, the company secretary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Thomas Odongo, the MD Kiwasco.
I am Vinod Patel, the board chair of Kiwasco.
Thank you. We left out anybody because we wanted to know each and everybody. And yes, somebody just walked in and just raise up your hand so that you can bring up the
God is good. Now here, MCA for here, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you have done that great work, and now we know who we are and why we are here. We should take this opportunity again to say that it's a public participation, and that informs why we are sitting here today, and we shall go by the agenda as presented. Now, I'll give this opportunity to the MD to give introducing and welcoming remarks to the members. Then he will invite the chair, who will address us, and CEC Water. Next to that, there will be a representative for Lake Victoria Water Works Development Agency, and lastly, WASP. After then, we shall start the real work for today. Karibuni sana.
Thank you very much. Mine is to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this very important exercise that we are undertaking today. It's not every day that we do a tariff review. We do it periodically, and what you're going to look at is going to be in place for the next 5 years. So for us to have this kind of gathering again, it will be after 5 years. This is a very important exercise for us, and I want to sincerely appreciate all of you for leaving your busy schedules, leaving your businesses, your work, to come and give us your views on how we can make Kiwasco, better. So I wouldn't say much because I'll have a session where I'll present the company's performance and future plans. So at this juncture, I'll just welcome our board chair to make his remarks. Karibu.
Thank you, MD. I know the board members have introduced themselves, but it's still my duty to introduce the board members that are present with me. Currently on board, we have Director Phyllis. You can raise your hand. And we also have Director, Professor Norbert Opio. They are currently on board, and the other directors, as they will be joining us later, will introduce them at a later stage. I'd also like to welcome the representatives from the Lake Victoria Waterworks Development Agency. I was expecting the CEO of WASREB here, but it seems he has sent his representative, the representative Mr. Albert Chuodo. Welcome. Also, I welcome the representatives from the county assembly. Karibu. All other protocols observed. Good morning, everyone. As you all know that water is vital for all forms of life and centerpiece of existence. It is an essential nutrient. If there was no water, there would be no life on earth. More than 1 billion people around the world have no access to safe, clean drinking water, and over 2 million people die each year because of unsafe water, and most of them are children. It is our responsibility to ensure that our children do not suffer due to lack of safe drinking water. I therefore thank all the participants in this room who are with us physically and virtually to ensure that whatever decisions we make today will determine the future of our generations tomorrow. Don't make a permanent decision for your temporary emotion. The last tariff was reviewed 6 years ago, and as you are all aware, the cost of running the company keeps on increasing due to the factors that we all know. Currently, we have adopted new technology where we are replacing all the PVC pipes into HDPE pipes, and the cost of those pipes are almost like 70 to 100% more than the normal PVC pipes. We must take cognizance of the fact that the inflation in this country is quite high due to foreign exchange rates, thus affecting the cost of materials, chemicals, fuel, power costs, and all the employment costs. Yet our tariffs have remained the same for the last 6 years. This has put a lot of pressure on the company to sustain itself further and depriving services to many of our residents in Kisumu City. I believe your participation in this forum will be constructive and add value to the residents of Kisumu and the company at large so that we can continuously improve water provision for our city and fulfill one of the promises of the Governor's Manifesto. Let me end by saying this quote: "Thousands have lived without love, not one without water." This was a quote by W.H. Auden. Refresh life. Thank you. Asante sana. We have just seen the CEC of water, Mr. Salmon Orimba, walk in. He's apparently the board member currently sitting at Kiwasco. I'd like to call upon him to make his remark.
Thank you, Chair, members of the board of Kiwasco, members of the public, if at all we have members of the County Assembly of Kisumu here, ladies and gentlemen, not forgetting the management of Kisumu Water Sanitation Company. Today is a great day for us to be here, and I want to talk and give my remarks as the CEC, County Executive Committee member in charge of water, environment, natural resources, and climate change, Kisumu County. But specifically on the sector of water. Allow me to say this, ladies and gentlemen, that as we congregate here today to mark this very, very important meeting, it is in the governor's manifesto that Kisumu should be supplied with clean and safe water to its citizens. I want to bring the greetings from the governor, Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, who is on a working session in Nairobi today. And as I was coming here, he did ask me to kindly pass his regards and warm greetings. I want to mention that during my short conversation, he did reaffirm that from where he sits and from the Council of Governors, Kiwasco is ranked as one of the counties in Kenya and the only one that has water supply 24/7. And I want to congratulate the company and its entire team from the board to the management for a job well done. In line with the vision of the governor of the great county of Kisumu, we have been having a lot of challenges in terms of management of the rural water utilities. And it has been the desire of the governor to make sure that for us to have effective, efficient management of those utilities and the small schemes at the rural level, we must be able to look for a strategy on the way forward. And this strategy on the way forward and guidance, I can confirm here that the mandate of Kiwasco has been broadened to go beyond the 14 wards within Kisumu City to manage the rural water utilities within Kisumu County. And that is a plus, because you cannot be given more mandate if you are not doing the correct thing. I also want to mention that because of the good management from the entire team, we have been able to enjoy the support from various organizations, be it government, non-governmental organization, and development partners. Most of the partners have been able to identify Kisumu Water Company as an organization that they need to partner with moving forward. And lately, in a meeting we had in Nairobi, African Water Association, Kisumu was picked as one of the 4 cities to benefit from the funding, support, and programs from that organization for county-wide inclusive sanitation. And I want to say that some of these programs have put us in the map of Africa, not only in Kenya, because of good management, Kiwasco as a company. I also want to believe that the residents of Kisumu be it at the village level, low-income areas, the programs and the strategic management and the strategies put in place and policies which guides this company, we have been able to reach the low-income areas and the communities in these particular areas are also benefiting from such programs and activities. I want to conclude by saying that as we look at our next steps on making Kisumu a water-sufficient county, and having in mind that we are having the Afri-Cities next year, we have the right programs which we, our strategic plan, which was reviewed, to take Kisumu to 2050 and beyond in terms of water security. I also know that because of the handshake, we have programs being done by the national government to enable this county and city have infrastructure development that will be able to see our sanitation component improved and water availability improved. Just to mention two, we have the LV Watson program, which the president, the financing agreement in France last year. We have the Koruswain multipurpose dam, which is at the tail end because they have started compensating the farmers who have been in that particular area where the project is supposed to take place. And we appreciate our good partners who have helped us try to rehabilitate and upgrade our systems of water service distribution. Just to mention a few, we have the Kiwash, which has just ended and just taken over. We have Living Water International. We have Water is Life. We have Kiwasnet. We have water and sanitation for the urban poor. All these partners have helped us reach where we are today. And I must say, we are a lucky county because of the good management given by those who are driving these sectors. As we sit here, I want to believe that the water regulator, WASREB, has helped us look at compliance issues and where we are today. I think I want to say that we are in a very good working relationship with WASREB. May we stand blessed as we look at our items of discussion today. And I want to wish the citizens of this county a good deliberation for those who have represented them, and may God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aziri, for that. Dear participants, I would like to remind you that due to the COVID protocols, the attendance for this meeting has been limited to the number that you are seeing here. However, we are streaming this meeting live on Google Webinar. So the participants that are following the proceedings online are encouraged to participate fully by sending questions, and we shall respond to those questions. The time for that will come at the tail end. However, the webinar meeting is also going on, and be assured that this public participation is well represented. Thank you very much for that. We now take the opportunity to welcome the CEO of WASREB. As you have been told, and as you know, this meeting is fully facilitated by WASREP on the issue that we shall discuss. So let us welcome the CEO of WASREP who has been represented here. Give us his remarks. Thank you. Very good.
Asante sana. Thank you very much. Now, good morning once again. Now, my name is Albert Ochodo. I'll be giving WASREB CEO's Engineer Njaga's remarks. First of all, I would want to deliver his apologies. He really wanted to be part of this exercise today, but due to other engagements, actually right now is in another forum, water sector forum in Naivasha, so he was not able to attend this function. And kindly accept the apologies, Chair. Accept the apologies of our CEO. Now, on behalf of WASREB, I want to say that I want to start by thanking those we have worked with. I want to thank the Kiwasco, the management of Kiwasco. I want to thank the county government of Kisumu. For we have worked together in this document. We have worked together. We have been communicating back and forth. And up to this vital moment, this is a very important stage of the tariff review exercise, the public participation. Now, what we are doing here is supported by some part of our laws. If you look at the Constitution of Kenya 2010, that is Article 10, talks about the national values and principles of governance. Now, one of those values is that there is what we call participation of the people as one of the national values. There is participation of the people. So we are called here to participate. That is one. Now, if you go further, you look at Article 174 of the same document, that is the Constitution of Kenya. When we are looking at the objectives of devolutions of government, the C bit of it talks of to give powers of self-governance to the people and to enhance the participation of the people in exercise of the powers of the state and in making decisions affecting them. So again, the Constitution requires us to participate and the public participation. Now, if you look at the Water Act 2016, again, Section 139 talks again about public participation. So whatever we're going to do here, please be assured that is well supported and well anchored in law that we have in this country. Otherwise, since I'll be delivering another presentation later, I want to end my remarks there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are just starting our presentations, and as you just noted from this CEO's speech, WASREB CEO speech, we are going to do a very, very important aspect of the regulation, which is tariff review, and that requires public participation. However, we just received an apology from the CEO of Lake Victoria South Water Service Board, who is attending a workshop in Naivasha. I sent a representative here, Mr. Juma. Mr. Juma, where are you? Thank you. Kindly note that Mr. Juma is with us and representing the CEO. Thank you very much. now that we are there and we know very well, I think I'll stand. Everybody? Okay, let's stand. We've been told that today we are undertaking a very, very important function from this sea water. We've been told that the county government is supporting this. And from the CEO, WASREP, we've been told that this is something anchored in law. So it's public participation, and it means we must participate. If we don't participate, then we shall not be complying with the regulations. I'll do a short presentation on stakeholders, because we've been told it's stakeholders who are going to participate today. So who are the stakeholders? We want to understand what a stakeholder is. And then we will understand who are the stakeholders of Kiwasco. If we have now known what stakeholders are, who are the stakeholders of Kiwasco? What do these stakeholders expect from the company once we've known who they are? What are their rights and duties? Because if you have rights, then you must also have duties on those rights. Then we have been told of governance. That has been mentioned severally. So this is what we call corporate governance as a stakeholder. What's the relevance of this governance to you in relation to Kiwasco? Now, after doing that, then we shall now know what we are expected to do as we discuss the tariffs that we have been presented. I have a simple definition of a stakeholder, but I've also put shareholder. Don't know why I got excited and put shareholder, but let's see, maybe we shall find why shareholder is also important here. My simplest definition of a stakeholder is anybody who has got an interest in the company. Anybody who has got an interest in the company. So who is this? One, we know that water is a right in the Constitution. So, there anybody who may not have an interest in water, because Kiwasco is a water provider. So, as stakeholder, who we expect to be here today and virtually is anybody who has got an interest in the company. And this person must be consuming the product of the company, which is water. So everybody. So it means everybody is a stakeholder. However, mention the shareholder element. So who is a shareholder? My simplest definition of a shareholder, again, is an owner of the company. Mark that, owner of the company who has contributed to the formation of the company and has shares in the company. At the introduction level, I realized that there was a director who said was the founder director. A founder director of the company. So it means there have been some people who thought about forming this company. For you to be called a shareholder, own the company, and you must have by owning shares. Shares means you have some interest or some ownership in the company. So, in those two simple definitions, one say that stakeholders of Kiwasco in customers. This is my first stakeholder whom I expect to be here today. If you are a customer of Kiwasco, a stakeholder. Two, suppliers. Suppliers are stakeholders because they have an interest in the company. And we are going to see why they have an interest in the company. Three are staff of Kiwasco. When introduction was going on, I realized that there were several staff who are sitting in here. Some are virtually participating. So these people have got an interest in the company. So they are stakeholders in this company. Board of directors and management. Well, this is very interesting. Also stakeholders, because they have an interest in this company. Government agencies, WASREP. And see, I want to tell you, I want to inform you that we always regulations. Give us any policies like the latest, when you told us that we have to amend the memorandum and article of that governance, we did that. So these are stakeholders in this company, like WASREP, we have got KRA, and name others. So these people are interested, they have an interest in this company because of the services or things that we do that interest them. Shareholders. Wow. These people are also stakeholders. So I'm now realizing again that apart from the shareholder, he's also a stakeholder. This shareholder is a stakeholder. Because the shareholder has got an interest in the company. The public. The public. So public and customers. But I realize that these people are different. They have public who are not company, but they have a stake in the company. They have an interest. Having noted those few stakeholders that we mentioned, and I'm sure you must fall, people who are sitting here today must fall into one or two of those categories that we have just talked about. What do these people expect? What do they expect from this company? One, regular supply of potable water. I don't know why I thought of that potable water, but I just said they expect regular supply of potable water. So if this water is not potable, they may not be happy. So maybe potable means consumable. These stakeholders expect timely payments, depending on which stakeholder we are talking about. They expect timely payments. Two, they expect fair remuneration. I don't know why the term fair is coming in. That's what they expect. Sustainability of the company. This company must continue. Not only today, but tomorrow. So if this is not continuing up to tomorrow, it's not sustainable, then these stakeholders will have an issue. So they want the sustainability of the company to be there. The stakeholders expect compliance. They expect compliance. You must be compliant. If you're not compliant, these stakeholders will be unhappy. Be it the government agencies, be it the customers. If you're not compliant, the customer will not be happy, and the rest. These stakeholders want returns on their investment in case they have invested, like the shareholders. They expect a return. So if you are a shareholder and you have this company who is not giving you return, then you are not happy. They expect continuous operation of the company. I don't know whether it's tied to sustainability, but they need this company to continue every day. They don't want to hear that our company is going to the red. So what are the duties? Our rights of these stakeholders. Rights first. These stakeholders have got a right to access water and sanitation. So it's their right. They must get water and sanitation. They have a right to participate in decision making like today. That's why we are here. Because we want to make decisions, you have the right to come here and participate. These stakeholders have got a right to relevant information about operations of the company, relevant information I'm repeating. About this. So anytime you want any relevant information about the operations of this company, that's your right. You must go for that right. Then these stakeholders have a right to representation in the board. And interestingly, some of us, when we introduce ourselves, we said either we are directors, so we must be representing those stakeholders that we talked about. Or we are incoming, it means we are coming to represent. Just as I mentioned, CEO Rasrep, when you informed us last time that we have to change our memorandum articles, we changed it immediately, and we brought in all the stakeholders that are required. So they are represented in the board. And once they are represented in the board, it means the decision making of this company is the stakeholders. Now, after all those rights, do you have a duty? Yes. These stakeholders have got a duty to pay for the services rendered. Maybe the public, maybe the customers. At one time when we have some meetings, we are being told we have got what we call unaccounted for, or something like that. However, if we have a right to consume the water, then we have a duty to pay for the same water. These stakeholders have got a duty to hold management accountable. They hold the management accountable by getting the information that they require, participating, giving recommendations, and their issues are addressed. Then they have a duty also to report complaints on services rendered. In the booklet that you have provided for with, or even on the banners that I'm seeing information that you can call, you can write. So you have that duty to report any complaint or compliments so that we can improve. So, how is corporate governance relevant to these stakeholders? And what is corporate governance, by the way? Again, I'll define corporate governance to be mechanisms for managing or running an organization in the best interest of the stakeholders. And again, somebody also told me one day, apart from corporate, if you only talk about governance, it means how you conduct your business even in your house. So it means even in your house there's governance, not only in the company, even in your house. So corporate governance, as we are being told now, are mechanisms for running or managing this organization, this company. So the key areas of corporate governance, of running this company, include appointment of directors. Do we appoint our directors in the correct way through the regulations put? Then it means corporate governance is being followed and applied. In decision-making on policy issues, like the one that we want to make today. So if corporate governance is there, it means those decisions that we are making are decisions that are running this company in the best way possible. Transparency and accountability in company operations. It means we are not opaque. We are very open with what we do. Whenever you want any information about us, we give you. This information is for you. So we are accountable and transparent. That is corporate governance. Corporate social responsibility, CSR. Again, when I check some of the documents put there, they're being told, there are pictures there, I'm seeing some pupils in some schools. It means we are cooperating with the community, we are assisting. We are paying back to the community. That is governance. So it means stakeholders expect CSR from the company. We must be responsible to the environment. That's a real governance issue. If you are not responsible to the government, then tomorrow, as Waziri said, we shall not be providing water 24 hours in a day because we shall have depleted our natural resources. Then, profitable operation. If every day we are just reporting that we can't make it, it means there's no governance. So, it means we are now ready to participate as stakeholders to give our opinions and to endorse the tariff that shall be presented with. With that, I hand over to the CEO to take us through on the next agenda, which is company performance. So let's welcome the CEO.
Thank you very much, Wakili, for that insightful presentation. We now understand who stakeholders, shareholders are, and he's also given us good insights on corporate governance. I'll take you through the Kiwasco's performance over the years and what our future plans are. In front of you, I believe you have a folder. The folder has some information on what the company is doing. The smaller one is about the products and services. We also have our customer service charter. This is our promise to you. Then we've also introduced some new products that we expect that you can take advantage of, especially the water tank cleaning services, because we realize this is something that has been a problem to our customers, and we are here to give solutions. Also in front of you is a jug of water under glass to quench your thirst. I want to confirm that that water is direct from the tap because we believe in our products, and we believe that it is free. It is good to take directly from the tap without any problem. We give you a guarantee that if you have a problem, you come to us, then we'll be able to give you a solution. Kiwasco was formed in 2001, but we began operations in the year 2003. That means we're about 18 years old. Now we are maturing. Of course, we are registered under the laws of Kenya. We are a registered private limited liability company, fully owned by the company. Originally, we focused only on water and sewerage, but we realized that our water coverage was high, our sewer coverage is still below 20%, and there was a gap between our customers who are sewered and the non-sewered customers. So we endeavored to find a solution for them. So we changed our name in 2018, not only changing our name, changed our name and focus to Kiwasco, to Kisumu Water and Sanitation Company. Currently, the county has given us the mandate to look at water service provision within the county. So we are now going beyond the city, which is our coverage area. That's where we are licensed to operate. But we are managing Nyanas and Gulf through a project that we call 3 to 1. 3 to 1 means that there are now 3 different companies, but our ultimate aim is to merge and have one water utility for the county. Our vision, our strategic foundation, we have a vision, we have a mission, and of course, we have a slogan, which all of you know. We want to be the most admired service provider. So Kiwasco is not looking only at the county. We are not looking at Kenya, but we are looking to benchmark with other companies in the world. Not only service companies, but even manufacturing companies, because service provision cuts across. So our vision is to be the best, most admired service provider. Of course, our mission is to provide quality potable water and sanitation solutions so that the people of our county can live dignified lives. As part of our strategic foundation, we have core values. These are what guides us in our daily activities. This is what guides us in our daily activities. Number one, we are customer-centric. We want that every time a stakeholder or a member of the public interacts in any way with Kiwasco, then that interaction must lead to a positive experience. We also endeavor to be professional in whatever we do. Creativity and innovation. At Kiwasco, we encourage our staff and indeed the stakeholders to come up with ideas. And whatever idea you come up with, we will look at it and implement. If it works, we celebrate. If it doesn't work, then we have learned from it. We support each other because we have different skills so that we can meet the objectives of the company. So teamwork is also one of our core values. And of course, integrity. We expect that all staff of Kiwasco will do the right thing even when nobody is watching. This is our customer value proposition. Reliability. We want you to have water 24/7. Accessibility is not only about distance, but about affordability as well. So when you look at accessibility, we are looking at you should not travel long distances to get potable water. But to get that potable water, I mean, it has also to be affordable to you. So that is why we are here today, to look at that affordability of water. And of course, quality. Quality is key for us, and that's why we are confident that you can take water from the tap. And indeed, what you're taking today is direct from the tap. Now, looking at our performance over the years, our revenues have been growing steadily. We expected that by the end of this financial year, we would be a billion company. And as you can see, we were steadily moving towards being a billion company. So that focus is not lost yet. We are still focused. We still believe that we should be a billion company in the near future. So you can see in 2016 where we are. We grew steadily over the years. In 2019, we did 812 million, just close to the billion mark that we had promised. But in 2020, there was a decline. So it is a slight decline in our revenue generation. But we all know that we were hit by a pandemic that indeed affected most of our customers. Some of our major customers either closed down or scaled down their operations. But what we are here to promise is that we want to continue on that growth trajectory. And when we sit here next with our stakeholders, you'll see a positive growth trajectory. Now, you look at the cost of sales. The cost of sales has also been increasing. Of course, as you sell more, right, the cost increases. But when you look at the last column in 2020 compared to 2019, our sales declined, and yet our cost of sales increased, right? So that tells you that we are faced with so many challenges as we endeavor to achieve our objectives. One of them, of course, is changes in technology. I can tell you that in the water industry today, if you don't adapt to technology, then you're going to go down. I can give an example of the materials we used. We are now using more sophisticated and high-quality material than we used before. If you look at the pipes that we are using, we were using PVC before, but now we are using HDPE, for example. Now, climate change is also a problem. That has increased our cost of sales, especially when it comes to treatment. We all know that the lake waters are heavily polluted, and therefore we must use much more chemicals to treat and even add additional treatment processes so that we are able to achieve what we are drinking today. Our gross profit has also been increasing over the years, apart from 2020, for reasons that I have explained. Now, the other interesting thing that I want you to look at is the other income, right? This is because of innovation, right? We are looking at alternative in revenue streams, and that is why this has been increasing. And between 2019 and 2020, the increase has been quite impressive, over 40, I think around 45% increase in other income. That's because of innovation. We are looking at additional revenue streams. And if you look at our product, the flyer on products and services, then you can see the details of that. Of course, the latest is tank cleaning services. We are adding value to our customers, but we are saying that you must pay a small fee for it. Now, the bottom line, we've been making profits over the years. There's no year we've made a loss, and we promise to continue with that. It's only that in 2020, we made profits, but they were diminished profits because of the reasons that I have explained. So this is just a graphical representation of what I've described. So we can go to the next slide. So this is the technical and commercial performance to some extent. The network coverage has been growing over the years, and you can see 71, 74, 79, 80, and 82%, despite the depressed revenues. The sewer coverage has remained static over the years. The sewer coverage has remained static over the years. One, because there's been little investment. And number two, which we are now changing the narrative, is that we've had projects that do not look at last mile connectivity of sewer. And last mile connectivity of sewer is very expensive, and we expect customers to bear the cost of this last mile connectivity. The other reason why the coverage has been low is because we have been reactive. We have been reactive over the years because we expect buildings to come up is when we think that let's do a sewer line. But if you put a house or a commercial premise, what's the first thing you'll do? You look at water and sanitation. And if there's no sewer line, you'll have a septic tank, right? So when I come with my sewer line, you already have a septic tank, right? So we've been reactive. So we are trying to change that narrative. We are looking at areas where there's potential growth in terms of construction. And we do what we used to call site and service schemes long time ago. So that when somebody is selling you land, he tells you there's a water line nearby, there's a sewer line nearby. So that is going to change our network coverage. Again, we are also looking at enforcement, and we are working closely with the city, but it's enforcement in a good way. We are discussing with our customers that if there's a sewer line near you, then, I mean, it makes sense for you to connect. Otherwise, it's public money that is wasted. Our water quality has been good. The sector benchmark is 96%. We have been meeting that over the years, though in 2019 and 2020, there was a slight decline because of the reasons I mentioned before. Then, one, the quality of the raw water, both the river and the lake. The river, we are affected by pollution and human activities upstream, like the use of fertilizers, artificial fertilizers that most people in the catchment areas use. Our non-revenue has not been good. 46% in 2016, that was pretty high. But by the end of 2020, we had brought that to 37%. So that's a difference of 8%. Now, for you to reduce non-revenue by 1%, it's normally a huge effort and a very expensive affair. I want to confirm that that figure is now much lower, and we are working very hard to ensure that we meet the sector benchmark of 20%. Of course, we have a challenge that most of our networks were done long time ago, in 1950s, 1960s. Some of the materials used then GI pipes and asbestos. We still have a small section that is asbestos. So we are working to change that. The GI pipes have corroded and they are leaking underground. But we have initiatives that we have instituted. That's why we were at 37% by 2020. And I can confirm that currently we are actually below 30%, and we expect to be consistently below 30% going forward. Our collection efficiency, and this is where you as our stakeholders, as our customers, our shareholders come in, we expect to be collecting 100%, but we've not been able to achieve that. The sector benchmark is 96%. We've fallen short of that over the years because there are some of our customers who do not, they delay payments, and therefore achieving that 100% has been a challenge. We have the national county governments that at times also have challenges paying. But we are working closely. We are engaging to ensure that they pay on time and we improve on that. Our complaints resolution, I say this has been pretty good. And in the last 3 years, 3 or 4 years, Kiwasco has been the best customer in customer service countrywide, except 1 year. So twice in the last 3 years, we have been the best. Currently, we are, I'll say we are the reigning champions when it comes to customer service because of the good way we are handling our customers. Okay, just go back to that, the graphical representation. Yeah, so this is a graphical representation of what I have discussed. You can see where our coverage is from 2016. So it has been going up. Sewer coverage largely static. Water quality, not much difference. But in non-revenue water, it has been going down, right? You can look at 2020 where we are, 2017 where we are, and 2019. So currently we are here. So for non-revenue, the lower it is, the better. For coverage, the higher it is the better. Thank you. What's our future outlook? We are looking at, by the end of this financial year, that's by June 2022, we should be at 85% or more. Of course, you'll see where the regulator wants us to go as part of the tariff conditions. Of course, ultimately, we want to be at 100%. And I'm seeing this as achievable because in our current strategic plan, we had planned for 85%. And we are going to achieve that. We are almost there. I'm sure we're going to achieve that. Sewer coverage, we are working to go to 30%. Waziri talked about the LV Watson project. It has a huge sewer component that we believe is going to take us to 30%. And that sewer component has an element of last mile connectivity. Customer satisfaction, in our last survey, we were at 84.6. We expect to be over 90%. Now, in customer satisfaction, if you are at 70%, you are good. But in our last survey, we were at 84.6%. So we are not doing so badly. Propua initiatives. Here, we are looking at moving to over 90%. Currently, we are at about 87%. So you can see that in the low-income areas, our coverage is higher than our global average. This is because of the initiatives that we have to supply water in the low-income areas. We have the delegated management model, which has been a subject of benchmark from utilities over the world. Again, because of the way we handle water and sanitation in the low-income areas, we are now attracting partners and funding from what Waziri said, the AFWA, African Water Association. In addition to that, we've been identified as a mentor when it comes to Propua initiatives for other utilities in Kenya. And of course, that also comes with funding. So we are looking at increasing our average monthly revenues to 90 million. Currently, we are doing much less than that. We are doing about 70, but we are looking at increasing that to 90 million. So that will push us beyond the 1 billion mark. That is our key focus. We are looking at reducing our liabilities by over 50%. This has significantly reduced if you look at our financial statements. And we want to ensure that our corporate governance is top-notch so that there is efficiency. We handle our stakeholders well. And of course, if there's good corporate governance, then it means that we are able to manage our risks well. As I end, I just want to give you highlights of how we are ranked nationally by the regulator in our category of very large water utilities. In the last impact report, we were number 6. Nationally, we were number 12. I believe that in the next ranking, we are going to improve on that. We were the best in customer service. In corporate governance, we were number 2. So those are just highlights of how we are ranked nationally. Asanteni sana.
Yes, asanteni sana. Thank you very much, MD, for that wonderful presentation. We also have a presentation from WASREB, and we are calling it Sustainable Water Utilities in Kenya. Areas I'm going to cover presentation, I don't know, there's something I'm looking for, it could be the notebook. Okay, thank you very much. Now, my presentation is going to cover the following areas. We are going to look at, don't scroll yet. Don't scroll. I just want to give members what you're going to cover. You're going to cover why do we need to be regulated. We're also going to look at the role of regulation. Then I'm also going to give you a brief of who we are as Water Services Regulatory Board, that is WASREB. We're also going to cover an illustration of public consultation, and then look at the importance of public participation. And then we narrow down to sustainability of Kiwasco. After that, we're going to cover, just to take you through the tariff adjustment procedures. We're going to look at the type of tariffs, adjustments, and the process. And then we ask ourselves now that our tariff is approved, what next? So that is basically the subtopics we are going to cover. Now, for a start, why do we need regulations? Or why should we be regulated? That's a fundamental question. And I'll tell you that the what we call monopolies. And a monopoly, for those of you who have interacted with the business school, things to do with business or something relating to that kind of field, and a monopoly is an entity with the powers to determine prices, with the power to determine what to produce, who to produce. Basically, the economic questions of what to produce, who to produce, the quantity to produce, are never answered by the market. There's someone or an entity that determines this by themselves. Now, looking at the service that we are offering here, which is water, we can't just leave it for the provider to have those powers. We have to keep the powers in check. And water being a monopoly, we call it a natural monopoly. Natural in the sense that when you look at water, supply of water, that is, one, there's a lot of hindrance to entry. That is barrier to entry. If you are to set up another Kiwasco in Kisumu, believe you me, there's a lot of capital investment. There's a lot of funds that is needed. The initial setup cost is very high. So that alone will bar so many entities that probably would have want to venture into this kind of business or service provision. So that somehow brings the water service provision as makes it a natural monopoly. Secondly, there is what we call allocation of resources within the nation. And these resources should be allocated efficiently. Now, from economic point of view, I'll tell you that having another company within this territory to supply what Kiwasco is supplying, or having another maybe Kenya Power, another just Kenya electricity service provider or distribution company, just having them to run parallel with what is already in existence is it wouldn't be inefficient allocation of resources, because that resource that we want to use to set up a parallel company can be used to offer or to provide a service, some other public services that are needed. So what we need to do is just to ensure that whoever we have entrusted with this provision or of this service is put on check, so that the standard of services are good, the quality of services are good, and also consumers are protected. And that's why there's need to have a regulator. So you look at the initial setup cost, that is a barrier to entry. You look at allocation of resources, it is prudent just to have one resources allocated to one company, and then this company is closely monitored and nurtured to provide services to the standards that are needed. Thank you very much. Now, moving on to the role of regulation. Now, why do we need to regulate? Of course, regulation will bring in safety. We're looking at environmental protection. We're looking at social objectives and consumer protection. Now, when you achieve this, your company will more likely achieve sustainability or realize sustainability. Now, safety. When you talk of safety, we are looking at the drinking water quality. And I'm glad that MD has told us, has assured us that this water is very, can actually take it. That is the assurance that we want. That the quality of the service we're providing is up to standard. And right now we want Kiwasco to ensure that the drinking water quality is 100%. We don't want to do with 95%, 90%. Let it be 100% throughout, so that we are sure of what we are consuming without having to worry or incurring extra cost of maybe acquiring or getting bottled water, simply because we don't trust what is being provided to us. Let us believe in it, and not only believing, let the company assure that the quality is good, that we can consume it directly from the tap. Now, looking at environmental protection, this is very, very serious, by the way. As a sector, we take this very serious, because about 2-3 years ago in Cape Town, there was a big crisis in that city where there was a high water shortage. And there was actually, they were calling it countdown to zero, where they were counting down days to full shutdown of the taps, where there will be no water at all running in those taps. And that was as a result of a drought, and the dams that supply water to the utility there ran dry up to 90%, and the 10% left was just a mixture of mud and sand, couldn't be treated. And that was a result of not taking care of the environment. So environmental protection is very, very serious. And I don't know why I'm not seeing WRA invited here. Or probably they were invited, but I never heard somebody from that. It is very important to protect our sources from the catchment area. It's very, very serious. And other than just not having the water to treat, even the cost of treating that water, if the environment is not well protected, is very, very high. So as a way of cutting costs, let's just put in place measures of conserving our environment. And this is not only for the utility to do. We are here as stakeholders. Where you come from, just make sure your environment is clean. Make sure you're planting trees. Just make sure you're doing something. It is not a one man's job or one entity's job. This is our all collective responsibility as a nation. It is not about where you're coming from. It's about all of us as a nation. So we have to do that. And we're also looking at social protection. Now, I've been lucky enough to have been a resident of Kisumu at some time in my life. And they're what we're calling low-income areas. And I was, the other time we were with a part of your team in Nairobi. And you were having some workshop at Fresh Life, MD. You had sent your team for technical workshop in Nairobi, and we were looking at sanitation. Now, I told them that I grew up in Ubunga. I grew up there. So I know when we are talking about low-income areas and the need to have measures of taking care of the putting in place things like the pro-poor measures to take care of the low-income areas, it's very important. We need to have a targeted mechanism of dealing or trying to solve the challenges that you are facing with the low-income areas dwellers. There is an element of consumer protection. So again, consumers need to be protected, and that's why we are there as a regulator. We want to make sure the consumers are protected in terms of the quality of services they're getting. They are protected in terms of pricing, trying to make sure that the commodity is sold to them at an affordable price that they're able to pay, and they're not exploited. So basically, once we achieve all those, then we envisage a company that is going towards realization of sustainability. Now, we are looking at WASREB. Now, who is WASREB? Now that we have realized that there's need to regulate this sector and how the regulation is done. Now, WASREB, WASREB is a national government entity that is established by the Water Act 2016, and our main objective is to protect the interest and the rights of the consumers in provision of water services. That is basically who we are. Now, going further, in relation to water and tariff, when you look at section 72B of the Water Act 2016, again, we are mandated to evaluate and recommend water and sewerage tariffs to the county's water services providers and approve impositions of such tariffs in line with consumer protection standards. So whatever is being done here, at the end of it all, it is our mandate to prove it. So approve it. So once we are done here, it will go to take a report to our board, and hopefully the board will approve the review or tariff adjustment. Now, public consultation, this is just a pictorial illustration. So basically, it's just a dialogue. We are here as stakeholders to talk. And talking, we will normally encourage people to use the best language you can use or you are good at in expressing yourself, expressing your views. You don't have to talk in English. You don't have to talk in Swahili. You don't have to talk in Luo. Use the language that you feel that if you use, your points will be well articulated. So you're encouraged to bring out the issues, the remarks, the comments that you think will be helpful towards having a better service provider in Kisumu, and also improving the services that the company is offering to you, quality of service. Now we are looking at the public issues, we look at the personal issues, and also the technical issues. Definitely to have those services, there need to be investments. You need to invest in the water infrastructure. Those are technical issues. You need to have specific equipment. Those are technical issues. So we look into those. So that's why we are here. Next. So again, this I had mentioned earlier. So it is important to note that whatever we are doing here is well anchored in our constitution. When you look at Article 10 and also Article 174, and further if you look at the Water Act in Section 139, whatever we are doing here is well captured. Now, let me now move to sustainability of Kiwasco. Now, sustainability, as the Secretary had mentioned, that sustainability is basically to ensure that Kiwasco will be there even in the future, for the future generation. For those of us that we are having young kids, those who are yet to have, our children and their children will find Kiwasco there to serve them. And for that to be there, there should be in place certain factors. So this is what we call that this sustainability depends on one, is that the policy and political environment. Policy, the policy makers, the kind of policy they're coming up with, very important. Very important to ensuring that Kiwasco will be sustainable. Policies at the national level and also at the county level. Very, very important. Political environment. This is another the term or a phrase. It's called political goodwill. The policies could be there, but is there political goodwill? So there should be a good working relationship between the political class and the management of these water companies, or Kiwasco in this place. The bills that they are going to be passed, and I'm glad I had there's an MCA here, the bills that are passed in the county assembly should be bills that actually are geared toward ensuring this, ensuring or protecting sustainability of Kiwasco as a company. Then we are looking at the management capacity. And it is very important to have in place people that are able to manage the resources they're tasked to manage well, to again just realize the goal and objectives of the company. We're looking at the technical capacity. This is now the infrastructure, the water source that I've talked about, conserving our sources, very, very important. Then we're looking at the social and cultural factors. Again, this plays a very, very big role. There are areas that we have gone to or tariffs that we have worked on where you have to put in place just a special tariff for livestock. Yeah, you have tariff for human beings that your basic household of probably six family members will be priced as this. But now there are areas that we also to consider human beings, but we also have to consider their livestock. So those are social issues. So we have to consider that. Then financial sustainability. It's very, very important. You can't do these things if you don't have money. You don't have money. Money is very important. That is financial sustainability. How sound are your financial systems? Now, the financial sustainability of Kiwasco will depend on two things. And once financial sustainability is realized, then there are also three other elements that will be achieved. Now, financial sustainability depends on sufficient inflow of revenue and also predictable inflow of revenue. This revenue should not just have have an inflow of it, but the inflow should be predictable. It should be something that is reliable. We are able, if the MD say that in the next 5 years, I want to be at $1 billion in terms of sales, then it should be something that is able to realize predictability and then the inflow of it. Very important. Now, once the company is able to get this, then we expect the company now to be able to meet its financial obligations. We are talking about stakeholders here, and we talked of the suppliers, one of the stakeholders. These are now financial obligations. Are you able to pay your debts? Are you able to pay your suppliers? Are you able to provide for your staff? These are financial obligations. Now, after meeting the financial obligation, you will get service delivery to the consumers. Is the drinking water quality 100%? Is the hours of delivery 24? Or are you getting ration? Are you getting water today, tomorrow you don't have it? Do you have water 24 hours running throughout? Yeah? This is now the service delivery. When you call, do they pick your call? Do they answer your messages? Do they contact you as a consumer, as a stakeholder? That is touch on service delivery. And you've been told that you scored, you're the best in service delivery last time. And I'm telling you, companies are working. And actually, Nyeri really want to take that. So MD, I hope your house is in order so that you maintain that position. So the people really want to take it. And then there's that progressive realization of universal coverage. This is very important, that at the end of it all, to be fair, that every one of us, every citizen of this country could have, that is a dream, could have access to clean and in sufficient quantity, clean and safe water. That is universal coverage. That is our prayer. Then, when I'm talking about predictable financing, I've talked about inflow and also predictability. Now, predictable financing is required to meet the operation and maintenance cost, O&M. That is just the normal cost that used in running the business or the company on basic activities, basic day-to-day activities. And then this is needed to also improve quality of service, and I've talked about reliability and drinking water quality. Then you look at the infrastructural development, and we have been told that now the infrastructure that was done here in the 50s, most of it is now dilapidated, and again, technology has improved, and we need to have in place better infrastructure. So we need money to do all this. Now, sources of money. Where do we get the, the finances to do all this? Basically, we call them the 3 T's. 3 T's, we are talking about the taxes, the transfers, or official development aid, and then we are looking at the tariffs. And we are saying that of the 3, the taxes basically that the revenue we get from the national government and probably the county government. When you look at the transfer, these are the aids we get from our development partners, the developed nation that give us some grants or loans to carry out certain activities within our WSP and or within our service area. And then we are looking at the tariff. Tariff is basically the money you collect from consumers consuming your services for the services you have rendered them. So of the 3 T's, we are saying that the most reliable one is tariff. Tariff is the one that you can depend on. This other one can let you down. We have had cases where in the tariff we project or we forecast that probably a WSP will, the county government will take up an O&M expenditure. The one that they normally take up most of the time is electricity. County government will commit that, you have looked at your tariff, we'll be taking care of your electricity cost, or even some have seen saying that we'll pay part of your staff. Then we pass the tariff, thinking or assuming that this will be done. Then when now the tariff is implemented, the county government don't have money. Probably the national government has not done the remittance to the county government, or the collection done by the county government is not sufficient enough to get some to pay for electricity or their commitment they made for the WSPs. Now the MD is left with in a dilemma here. You have an expenditure that somebody say will pay for you, and an expenditure that is very critical, that you need it for you to be able to offer your services. And you get a situation now, the person who promised to take care of this particular expenditure is not honoring it up. You have to get money somewhere to pay it. Now we are talking about predictability. It will let you down. Once these people fail, the people promised you, the county government or the development partners, they fail to honor their bid or their part of the bargain, then you are left in how am I going to get this money? So there is that challenge. That is why we are saying that the only sure bet here is tariff, because tariff is money that you target to collect from what you have from the services you have offered to your consumers. And that will lead to what we call reliance on internally generated funds, basically. We rely on money that we generate from our services, not money that we are getting from external entities. And just to move to tariff adjustments. Now we have 3 types of tariff adjustments. We have the regular tariff adjustment, similar to what is taking place right now. This is the process part of it. We call it RTA, where a comprehensive review of tariff is undertaken. And normally this set for, give a tariff of about 3 to 5 years for Kisumu, or Kiwasco is for 5 years. And we have been in this process for quite some time. Mr. Museti here will tell you. Since we received the application up to now, it has been a process. We've been communicating back and forth, working on the application, doing adjustment here and there. So basically, that is what we do. Other than that, we also have automatic tariff adjustments. This is comes in place as a result of indexation. Now, indexation, you realize that we call it, this is what we call inflation. Consumer price indices, yeah? The changes in prices of commodities over time. And this need to adjust the tariff just to take care of the inflation, just to cushion the company from the inflation, the impact of inflation. And that is what we call indexation. Now, indexation takes place every July. Now, for Kiwasco, if this tariff we are discussing will be approved, then the first indexation should take place in 2023 July. July of 2023, that is when they'll have the first indexation. That is simply, there will be adjustments of these figures based on the inflation of the year 2020, the year 2022-23, yeah. So that is that. Then we have extraordinary tariff adjustments. Now, for those of you who have been in the water sector, you'll maybe bear me witness that in 2008, because, okay, I was young then, from the secondary data that I've been able to read, provide that in 2008, there was a crisis in the water sector, and the policy makers during that time decided that the whole sector, the whole water companies were to have an extraordinary tariff through the water boards then. So in 2009, you can check, these things are gazetted. In 2009, there was extraordinary tariff adjustments for the water companies then. So those who are old enough in the sector who can confirm that. Personally, I did confirm from secondary data that I read. Yes. Now, how do we determine tariff or determination of approved tariff? Now, we look at basically, the company is not supposed to make, being a public company, their work should be just to deliver the services in good standards. Now, for them to be able to deliver services to the consumers, they incur costs in that process. Now, because they incur costs, we feel that it's fair for them to be sustainable, because we are talking about sustainability. We just need to recover back the cost of production, because they use to offer you these services. So, we normally, and after recovering that cost of production, probably if they took a loan, they need to repay it. That is honoring of debts. There's also an element of renewal of assets. Because some of these assets, again, because of service delivery, because of time, wear and tear, depreciation, they need to be replaced at some point. So we just want the company to be able to do that. Just recover their cost of production. If they're able to do that, then probably they are able to also repay their debts. And then after being able to repay their debts, they should again be able to replace some of their infrastructure and probably even get new one. Because now we're talking about universal coverage, increasing coverage. How will you increase coverage if you don't invest in some of these infrastructures? Population keeps on growing. If the population keeps on growing, you also need to keep on investing, yeah, so that you meet demand. Yeah? So we are going to look at the process I've taken you through. There's that we cover the O&M, we cover the financial obligation bit of it, and probably renewal of assets and purchasing new ones if need be. So that is basically, that's what we ensure that the tariff that the WSP has, or the water company has, is able to enable them achieve that. Now, the application process is a 3-step thing. The WSP submit the application to us, to us. Then we do analysis of the submission. I was part of the team analyzing data that was submitted by Kiwasco. And then after that, we do what we call approval of determination. So whatever we analyze and we communicate, and we normally engage the company a lot. We say, this is what you have submitted. I feel this cost is not justified, so we will disallow it. And then they also maybe support the reasons why they need to have that particular cost there. And we also give them our reasons why we feel we should not have that. So we have this kind of discussion here and there, we talk until ultimately we get to a document that both the regulator and the utility is okay with. Now, once you get there, it is that the determination is approved. So this is just part of the process. After this, we'll go back to Nairobi. The WSP will submit us with a report. Then once they give us a report, the report will be tabled to our board. The board may accept or reject, but in most cases, when public consultation is successful, they normally accept. After that, there should be gazettement, and the WSP is supposed to give the consumers a 1-month notice. Now, after the approval, what next? What happens next after? I wanted to ask a question, but already moved, so people have the answers. So, after the approval, what happens next? Yeah? It's approved. You are here. Consultation is over. Goes to Nairobi, board approves, gazetted. What next? Implementation. Now, implementation is done by the company. Then, after implementation is done, just to check that the implementation is being done correctly, WASREB does monitoring. So, we just hold on. We do we ensure that the company should adhere to the sector benchmarks. That's drinking, quality of services, and you will see them here in this proposal. The efficiency, then the realization of strategic plans. Those are some of the things that the WSP is supposed to implement. Apart from implementing now the new tariff structure. Yeah? This tariff structure, which is basically probably the upward, we'll see. Probably it's an upward review of the prices. That one they will implement. Are they implementing well? And then are they adhering to the sector benchmark we give as tariff conditions? Again, efficiency and those is the implementation now the management or the water company is supposed to do. Now, as WASREB or as a regulator, we'll now do the monitoring. After implementation for the next 5 years, 4 years, we'll be doing monitoring. And they'll tell you, we've been doing, we call it tariff implementation reviews. We normally move around every year. We get data, it's like an audit. We do the inspection, we look at their books, their billing, we check are they billing consumers correctly, and probably those of you know well, there are companies, there are utilities who have to credit their consumers for overcharging. There are companies that we went and we found that they are overcharging their consumers or they are not charging them well, and the board had to tell them that now, okay, you've been doing this, it is wrong, you're not implementing or you're not implementing the tariff correctly. Now what you do, we are going to calculate for each account, each consumer, the amount you have been overcharging and the total, and you're actually going to credit. And let me try to explain in a better way, to credit and debit. Now, when you say credit, you're going to refund these people their money. In other words, you're not going to give them cash because probably you're not liquid enough at that time, but you're going to have a show in the account that they actually overpaid by this much, and they're going to be consuming water in future until that overpayment or over amount that was overpaid is depleted. So that is crediting. And we have companies, and ask around here, this region, western region, we have companies that are actually doing that because they implemented the tariff wrongly, they overcharge, where we are saying implement 1 to 6 based on what is consumed, they are going to implement 1 to 6 or 0 to 6 on flat rate. When we do our inspection, we find that we credit. Other than that, we'll also look at the tariff conditions attached. Are you adhering to them? The conditions are there, you will see them, they are back of this. You're looking at the service delivery targets, are they being achieved? You're looking at the approved nature and level of expenditure. Yes, this is very important, and it's good. The MCA is here, the Waziri also is here. We normally, when we do our inspection, we expect that, this is a summary. When you're looking at the costs, O&M costs, and you're looking at this is a summary of what we have here. There's a detail of all this, where this information is coming from. Where we are saying, that, for instance, your personnel cost over the year is going to be this much. If we come a year later doing our inspection and we find that you are above that, we will need answers. Why did this happen? Yet we had capped this to this level. Yeah, we look at that very seriously. Personnel cost as a percentage of O&M, that's a very, very, very serious thing. And just to remind you, Moseti, when we'll be doing indexation, will be very key. We'll be looking at your personnel performance in personnel cost as a percentage of O&M. We'll also be looking at your performance in non-revenue. If you're not performing well, then probably you will not be indexed. You will not get that adjustment as a penalty, as a way of disciplining the company to ensure that the company adheres to this. Personnel cost as a percentage of O&M is very serious, and the reduction of non-revenue water, we also take that very seriously. So we'll look into those. And then during that monitoring, we also want to check the accuracy of our forecast. Because remember, we are just making forecasts. We're trying to predict the future. Now we will look at the actual performance against some of these forecasts we made. Were they accurate? How did we deviate? How much? What is the margin? So we want to look into those. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. It was long, but it was necessary. Thank you very much once again.
Good afternoon once again. I'll continue with the presentation from where the regulators left it. The need for tariff review, I think mostly is handled that. The calculation of the average tariff, how we arrived at the tariff that is there, and of course the tariff itself. And he has also mentioned that the regulator has given us the tariff conditions that we expect to achieve once during the implementation of the same. Of course, we also have the miscellaneous charges. I think this has mentioned the necessity to expand our service to the poor and meet the net coverage. MD mentioned here we need to be at 85 at the end of this financial year. As you look at what we've been given by the regulator, at the end of this tariff period, we need to be at 89%. And of course, as you saw in the cost of sales, and even in the overall expenditure of the company, you saw it rising. We also have the legacy loans, the LTAP loan that is yet to be paid. I need to mention here that our tariff actually expired in June 2019. And of course, we've delayed in this partly because of the COVID pandemic that we had. So we were not able to meet, and the regulator was not able to come and do their analysis. And of course, we are talking about inflation, and that brings in the issue of what the regulator said, that they approved what they call indexation. So this, we're supposed to achieve this. These are what we need to achieve: the financial sustainability, access to safe water as a human right, efficiency in service delivery of water and sanitation services, conservation of the environment. You mentioned WARMA, and this is exactly what we do. And of course, we need to make the tariff simple as possible for our customers to understand. Calculation of the average tariff, this is for water only, and I think you need to mark this so that this will guide us when you're now talking about what is the tariff. As per what the analysis that have been done by WASREP and our financial figures, it gives us the cost of water, the production itself, at 74.83. So the required tariff at the end there, as you can see, the required tariff is actually 78.77. This, you need to mark it because this is what guides the tariff. The overall tariff, also the cost at 100, we need to be at 105. I'm just giving this as a summary. You may not go into each and every here. This has been analyzed and the regulator is there to confirm the figures. This is for sewer only, not sewer and water, for sewer only. The cost is actually at 37.11. So the average tariff that is required for that is 39. Because one thing you need to understand is, as you saw our figures, our collection efficiency has been given by the regulator. We need to be at 95%. So this brings us to 39.07. So then in your books, and the part of the presentation that we've attached is this. This is what the financial projection that has been done by the regulator, that our O&M cost at 820 million, investment at 52. Our investment initially was at 167 million, but of course the regulator had to, we don't want to mention what they removed, they had to remove other items because it would not be sustainable. Of course, we have debt that needs to be paid at 97 million. This is partly the legacy loan. And of course, we are also having the board approved. We are also taking other loans, mortgages. As per our strategic plan, the company needs to go into its own home, to build its own offices, which we are starting in the next few days. Renewal of assets, you can see how the amount is, just a meager amount. And of course, that gives us that amount of interest to us, that this amount needs to bring us to 1.1 billion. Because this is also what was there in our initial strategic plan, that will be a 1 billion company by the year 2021, 2022. And that gives us a financial forecast of 95%, a collection efficiency. So we need to be at 1 billion still. So this gives us a cost coverage, O&M cost coverage of 108, and average O&M cost, the total of 128. The required, as per the regulator, should be at around 150. For this total cost, this now includes plus the assets, should be at least 130. So even with this tariff, we are still doing below. But of course, it's because of the costs that are involved. We can't, we will reach at 150 over time, but at the moment we'll move slowly towards that goal. The changes that are proposed are here. I think it's there in your documents that we circulated earlier. As I mentioned earlier, the average cost of production and the tariff that was required for water only was 79. You can look at that. But now what is proposed here is at 75. We all know for domestics, there is always some sort of subsidy that is given. And of course, if the average cost was 70, then you don't expect that the company subsidizes including the total cost. So you'll be given at that actual cost. And that is what the regulator is advising. And you can see all the others as they move. Of interest and changes that have been done, especially for commercials and businesses, is here. All these initially we used to do 0 to 6, 7 to 20, 21 to 40. All these have been merged. So we only have one tariff that says 1 to 50. And the other thing that we need to mention here, I think for the sake of this, is that initially we used to have what you mentioned earlier, 0 to 6. We don't have 0 to 6 going forward. So that if somebody, we had that as a minimum, if somebody then consumes 2 units, he will be billed on only 2 units, not on a minimum of 6. So that is a big change that now the regulator, so that it is on actual. We don't have the 0 to 6 that was there as a minimum, so that if somebody consumes 0, somebody consumes 6 units, and they were billed the same amount as a minimum. So that one is now changing. This, if you consume 1 unit, then you'll be billed on 1 unit. If you consume 3 units, you'll be billed on 3 units. So we don't have the minimum going forward. And of course, you can see for public schools, commercial, bulk sales, we can see this, because this also you're saying the company has been losing much on the bulk sale. We are producing water at 78 shillings. We were selling it at 25 shillings. So that is, anybody doing any business will be able to understand that. You produce at 78, then you are selling it at 25. It means you are selling it at a loss. So that has been corrected in this. Initially, we didn't have this in our, it had not been done for the bulk sales. Water kiosks remains the same at 35 shillings. And going forward, I was going to show you the amount that they allowed, the water kiosks are allowed to sell will now change. Initially, it was 1 shilling to now be 2 shillings, because this was also done by the regulator. Because when they came to the field and the consultation that they had, no kiosk was selling water at 2 shillings or at 1 shilling. Most of them are actually selling at 5 shillings, which is against the law. So we expect the kiosks to adhere to this, that we sell. We'll only billing you. We'll only be billing. You'll only be selling water at 2 shillings to the customers. For per 20-liter jerrycan, 2 shillings, not 5 shillings, not 10 shillings. This is on sewer. As I mentioned earlier, you saw the 39 shillings. So it's moving from 33 to 40. 39.07 just been rounded off to 40 as the minimum that we'll be receiving for sewer. For domestics, and all of them are moving at, for this one, 41 to 60. The initial was 72 shillings, now going down to 70. These ones are all 72, so this is 75, and the highest being 80. And what we are saying is, if a domestic customer then is consuming more than 50 units, a domestic customer consuming more than 50 units, then it is more of a commercial. So it should be treated more of a commercial. So the cost of commercial, if you look at this up to 50, is now 60. And these ones are the same, 70, 75, 80 for all of them. Because we assume all domestics should be consuming less than that. If you're assuming that, then it means you're doing more of business for you to consume this kind of water. There is the consumers without water connection, single dwelling of 300 shillings per month. That is on sewer, and all other categories, 75% of water consumed. Then I think he has mentioned the issue of indexation that will take place from 2023. Then we have miscellaneous charges. Partly before we go to that, I just need to mention part of the tariff conditions that we've been given by the regulator. As water coverage, as we said, need to be at 89% by the end of this tariff. Water quality at 100%. Non-revenue water, you saw as at 37 in 2020. Of course, it has come down in 2021, but now the regulator expects us to be here at 26%. Our strategic plan, we are talking about 20%, but of course the regulator also understands that we cannot do this without investments, we cannot do this without money, so it has to be a progressive exercise. So we are targeting 26%. Hours of supply, 24 hours. He mentioned personnel expenditure. He really stressed on it, and this will give us a bit of headache, up to 24% from 30%. Then we also, so that the company does not continue employing people, he says for every connection that you have, staff per 1,000 connection, then we need to maintain it at 5. So for every 1,000 connection, we have only 5 staff. Metering ratio of 100%, and of course collection efficiency of 95%. Resale at kiosks, I think I mentioned this earlier, 2 shillings per 20-liter jerrycan. This is also a tariff condition that we're given, and so the kiosk operators who are here kindly help us implement this so that we are all in good books with the regulator. There are other conditions that are there about the budgets and the surpluses that are supposed to be, how we're supposed to use it, how we're supposed to report on a quarterly basis to WASREB, and investments that are supposed to be taken. Then this is, I think you can see it much from the handouts that you have. the charges that are there. I'll not mention all of them. I want to bring those that are of significance to us. Domestic customers, water deposits will move from 2,000 to 2,500. Retail shops, less than 10 units and all this, currently they are at 5,000 shillings. So these ones have been reduced to 3,000, 3,500. You can check on where the areas, the water kiosks now comes to 5,000 shillings only. Of again interest to us is this, I need to mention that is changing. Construction, if a single dwelling or a domestic house you're constructing, currently it is 30,000. This one has been reduced to 15,000 shilling. But for those who are doing commercial buildings, commercial establishments, they call it major construction sites of more than 300 units per month is 50,000 from 30,000. For domestics, it has been brought down. Connection charges, this is also to encourage us and to encourage more members to connect to our water. This has been reduced. Currently, we have been doing 4,000 for half inch, 5,000 for 3/4, and 7,500 for 1 inch. All of them have all been reduced from those amounts to 2,500. So the connection charges has been reduced significantly by more than 50%, more than 100% for those who are doing 1 inch, because it was 1,000 or 7,500. This has reduced to 2,500, and all of them are now. All the connection charges have been reduced. This is to encourage more people to connect. So the cost has been reduced significantly to encourage more people to connect. The other one that I would need to actually stress on is this one, a reconnection fee for those who delay in payment of water. I think this, the regulator say this has been standardized for all water companies in the country, and we could not keep it at 500, so this has been moved to 1,000 as a penalty for late payment. The regulator should be able to, will explain more of that, because this is now standardized in the whole country, that all reconnections is 1,000. So this will act as a deterrent. We need to then work on us paying our water in time so that we avoid paying 1,000 shillings. Of course, there's water tankers that are there, and the other costs. Sewer connection, residential has also been reduced from the 6,000 to 5,000, and for commercial from 10,000 and colleges to 7,500. So these have also been reduced so that we are able to encourage the company then to do more connections. The others are there. They are not more. They are more or less the same as what we have. If somebody has any query on the same, we supplied it earlier. Then you can be able to ask. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Dear participants, stakeholders, can you clap for all the presenters who presentations? Are we tired? Are we tired? Very good. This is 12:30. According to our agenda, at 12:30, we should be we shall not pray and close now. We are starting. See, we said that it is public participation, and I would suggest that after this, can we get another public participation for increase in fuel, petrol, and all that? Plus, thank you very much. Now, we are going to the last session, which is interactive session, questions and plenary. We shall divide this into two. As indicated there will be recording of comments and suggestions. We shall first do that. Then lastly, there will be question and answers session. There are several questions that we had received online, and we still urge you to send the same. But for the participants who are here, kindly feel free to to ask any question. For purposes of time management, and having been told that there's another meeting that most people will be attending after this, and it has been notified and we don't want to be late, I'll request that I give 4 slots for each. Would that be okay with you? 4 slots for questions, sorry, for comments and suggestions. Then I also give 4 slots for questions and sorry. Would that be too much? You know, we are now interacting, so I want us to speak. Would that be, if I give 4, would that be too much, or too little? Too little, Jason, how many do you want? Now, for us to know, those hands, can I see people who want to give comments, not questions first, comments? I can see Director Dongo, I always call him Director. 1, then the next 3, 4. I've seen 4 hands up. Any other? 5, 6. I've seen 6 hands for comments. Do we limit to 6? Thank you. Approved. So we shall give 6 comments. Let us be brief, because we want to give time for questions and answers. Immediately after then, we shall go to questions and answers. Now, I'll request, my friend, you can start from behind. Can we give the first one behind to give his comment? Let's try to limit, in case somebody has said what you wanted to comment about kindly limit what you want to say. Thank you. Let's start. And we are recording, yeah? You can just maybe stand so that we see you well, in case you are not very tired. You can rise as you make the comment. If you can, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am Honorable Steve, member of the County Assembly of Kisumu, representing Kolua East Ward and the chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee. First, I want to thank the organizers of this meeting, and I just want to make a few comments. Others are within what we are discussing, but there's also a comment I wanted to make with regards to the Kiwasco's mandate. Kiwasco's area of jurisdiction is the same as that of the city, and I wanted to point out to the board and the chair that when you go within the city, despite the fact that we have the right infrastructure, we still don't have water in certain parts of the city. And I think something needs to be done, because the efforts to improve on the infrastructure has not borne fruits that we expected. So as the grassroots leaders, we have a challenge. Sometimes we haven't laid the pipes and everything, but we are told the pressure of the water and other things. And that means we want to ask the executive wing, that is the Department of Water, to liaise with Kiwasco as a department or as a company to ensure that when we are constructing those lines, there will be water in the pipes for our people to use. 2, we have seen, this just a comment, we've seen the proposed tariffs, and those proposed tariffs, I would just request that as you're explaining, what you have given to us does not have the current position. You're able to explain to us what you are currently charging, vis-a-vis what you have proposed. It would be nice to have that, so that even at our own free time, even when we are